Hello everyone, welcome back to Action Kharkov, German solo, and this video is a review. If you have seen the previous videos, you have seen then that in the previous video I have ended the game by taking Kharkov and winning, achieving an operational victory, which was the strategic result. I'm doing this video as a kind of review of the game, to tell you some stuff about the game, and let's start by saying that I really enjoyed it. It is a great game, and totally loved it, and I'll play it as much as I can, actually, as I did with the previous title in the series, Enemy Action Ardennes. And let me tell you that I am a fan of the designer, John Butterfield, and I have played, I think, most of his games, and they're really, really good, especially from the standpoint of a solo wargamer. I know that there are two-player games that may have more thrilling subjects. Maybe they're better suited to player play, but when it comes to solo experience, I think they are Mr. Butterfield's games are at the top of their game. I mean, yeah, their solo systems are great. They're engaging, and they present a real challenge to the gamer. So let me tell you a little bit more about the game, and first of all let me address the issue of how similar or dissimilar is to the previous title, Enemy Action Ardennes. I think the basics of the system are the same. There are the movement methods, there are the attacks, the restrictions, the core mechanics of the game are the same. However, they're not identical. They have been the mechanics have been, the rules have been adjusted to the situation, to the simulation of the battle they represent. It is quite different, I'd say. I've played both games. It is quite different from Enemy Action Ardennes, and if you approach a seasoned Enemy Action Ardennes player, approaching it with what he or she has learned during the previous game, it's going to be a surprise for him. It's a totally different game in the way the units on map behave and how they react, and how you have to go about achieving your objectives. So no worries there. It doesn't matter if you have or you haven't played Enemy Action Ardennes. It's totally worth getting Enemy Action Kharkov 2. I don't know, I'm not certain if I only had to choose one of them, which one would be, because they're different games. I mean, Enemy Action Kharkov, the units are way more mobile, let's say, than Enemy Action Ardennes. The time scale is different, and if you want, moving units along, great distances, having a map, an expansive map where you can move more or less freely to every part of it, and making ground moves and stuff, then Enemy Action Kharkov is what you're looking for. On the other hand, if you're into more a funneled approach, getting critical approaches and stuff like that, and trying to use the terrain as much as possible to your advantage, or overcoming the disadvantages of terrain, then maybe Enemy Action Ardennes is more suited for you. Okay, that said, both are great games, and if you can, get both of them. They're both operational level, which is, you know, my favorite level when it comes to war games, and yeah, so that's some people I know that they prefer tactical or strategic level games, but I feel more comfortable. I like more the operational level of games, and I think this is one of the games that captures the essence of the operational level games. Another issue that I want to address is replayability. I know it's of course it is 3 games in one. It's advertised also as such, and it indeed is. It's German solo, Soviet solo, and 2-player game. Okay, I mean, from the point of view of the solo player, it's 2 games, but it's always useful to have a 2-player mode, let's say, on the game, because it would be way more easier to, you know, introduce it to a friend, or for teaching purposes stuff. A 2-player mode is always good to have. So replayability of course, let me, before addressing this, let me say I have only played the German solo part of the game, but I have watched Grant's video of the Soviet solo system, and where you could watch the series too. And there are more videos from other gamers coming up. So and you know, having played both Ardennes and of course the German solo of this, I'm able to see how this how the Soviet solo plays too. So I think I can express a rather informed opinion. So I think replayability is not. It's very good. I could even say replayability is great. Okay, in technical terms, there are 5 different starting situations for the game, but the real replayability is not about these. And of course, again, it depends whether you're a strategic gamer or an operational level gamer. And this is because, okay, strategy wise, I mean, it's going to be expected how the Soviets and the Germans will act in this battle, with slight variations. They will try to achieve their goals. They're going to try to get Kharkov, to cut off other units, to amass as many victory points as they can. But that's so if you're a strategic level gamer, maybe you think that the replayability is not great, because it's the same battle with the same main objectives. However, at the personal level, the replayability is very high, and this is because, as I've said, not just the 5 different starting situations. It's because of the way the solo systems move and act, and you as the player have to react to them, or as the attacker, you create the situations where the defender will react. The real replayability of the game lies in the system, in the card-driven system it uses, because this, in combination with the selector numbers and the order of the movement methods, dictate how the units will move. So depending on the order by which the various cards, which are randomly drawn for the solo system, gets drawn, various units will perform various different movements, and it may be very critical for some of the moves, whether a card comes up before another one. It may sound complex, and okay, the solo system isn't has a lot of details, and yeah, in general the game is not well, it depends if you're a seasoned gamer. This is of you may consider it as a medium complexity. If you're a novice gamer, you will think of it as high complexity. Again, that's a matter. I prefer more complex games, giving more depth to the system than simpler ones that leave more things to, you know, player decisions, stuff. So well, it's my preference, but I think it's a great system. The real, as I've said, the real replayability comes from the cards, the random order in which the cards appear, and the selector numbers the units have. They may seem, this point, the selector numbers may seem trivial, but it's not actually. It's very well thought out, and with the generally better striking units having lower selector numbers, and the more weak ones having higher selector numbers. And its movement method calls for the units to be examined in ascending or descending order, depending on the goals this movement method tries to achieve. So in no two games will the cards come up in the same order, and this is going to have a great impact on how the units, the units controlled by the solo system will react. Also, there is the added level of depth with the objective markers, because the objective markers provide focal points for the various armies to or corps to go towards and achieve them. And they're not placed in the same places in every game. So the combination of starting situation, order of cards, and objective markers will create different games in each situation. Sometimes you'll find it easier to defend a part of the map. Sometimes you'll find it impossible to defend the same part of the map from game to game. And so that's great. You have to think which means that there is not a plan that will work each time. Sometimes you may get away with some things, sometimes not. So yes, I think replayability is very high. Also, it's the combat system. Combat system generates enough variation because it's not predetermined, and yeah, it may sound a little bit, you know, counterintuitive, especially if you're used mainly to two-player games, because you can't. It's not deterministic, totally not deterministic at all, because you can't. You can attack at great odds and still not get the result, which is totally fine, and this prevents the human player to exploit the weaknesses of the solo system, and it adds an element of uncertainty about. I mean, even if you've got an 8-1 or a 9-1, you will probably get what you're trying to achieve, but you can't count on it, not every time. I mean, since there's no CRT, it's a cheatable system, and that it's drawn randomly. Maybe no cheat will apply in the situation you want. So what works best is a combination, attacking with high strength, with favorable conditions and stuff. So attacks are not as straightforward as some players would like. However, they work very well in a solo system because it keeps the player. It doesn't, you know, allow the player to make a couple of, let's say, great, brutal attacks, and try to win this game this way. You have to carefully think out where and when to attack, at what odds and stuff. I mean, odds amassing great number of units, because you know that the solar system will not move the units another way. I mean, leaving leaving gaps in this game is almost certainly punishable by the system. Try to keep your lines as intact as you can. Yes, it prevents the player from gathering a huge number of forces in or 2 or 3 points, and do attacks that are certain to win. So yes, that's it. It's frustrating. It's frustrating because sometimes you attack and you can't get the results you want. Sometimes you get lucky and the opponent doesn't get the results he wants, the system wants, or you get lucky and you get what you wanted to achieve with far less trouble than you thought. So all in all, it's a well-balanced system. However, this game, more so than Anime Action, then is not about battles. I mean, of course battles will happen, okay? You have to attack, you have to defend. However, it's not it's more about maneuvering your units in the right positions, cutting off supply lines for the opponent, defending certain strategic spots on the map. I think it's more about positioning and maneuvering and knowing when to fight and when to run, especially as the defender. And I think it works very well in this sense. So the replayability is actually great. Strategy-wise, I don't have any particular advice. I mean, at least as the defender, and of course the system and the way the victory points are in this game, it discourages you from going after units. I mean, it's easy when we're playing a war game to get caught up in let's get that unit and defeat it, destroy it. But in this game, it's not, maybe it's not the best way to do. I mean, you have to do it if the unit coalition blocks an important crossroads, or you need to get the VP it's guarding. So yes, in these cases, but hunting units and trying to exterminate units just to do that, it's not going to work. You have to keep in mind your victory points, getting the victory points. That's the main objective. You have to mind your supply lines doing so, and you have to keep your plan as coherent as possible, going around the map trying to just eliminate units. It's not going to work. Also, as the defender, if you're attacking, you have to make your choices carefully, where to attack and which victory points you need to get first. And if you need first to get victory points, or get your units, get some of the opponent's units out of supply and stuff, cut off their communication lines. So you have to balance this. You need to get the victory points to win, but you need to be able to do it fast, because the clock is ticking. And what's interesting, and it is quite different from the Enemy Action Ardennes. In Enemy Action Ardennes, the Germans, who were the attacking force, they have a number of turns in order to achieve their objectives, and then the Allies come back, counterattack, because they receive very strong units, strong reinforcements and stuff. So it's Enemy Action Ardennes is actually two-phase. We could say it's two-phase game: German attack, German defense. In this game, there's a further twist, but which you're going to see only if you get later in the game. And I was lucky that my game went this way, so we got into the later stages of the game because it's actually three-phase. It's Soviet attack, German counter-attack, and then it's the Soviets come back again with strong reinforcements, and the Soviets are going to get a second if the game draws towards the final last past turn 9. The Soviets are going to have another 5 turns in which they can and they will, of course, counter-attack. So as the German, you have to get, if you don't win by the end of turn 9, then you have to be prepared for the Soviet counter-attack, and you know, it's quite interesting because you have only a narrow window. As the Soviet, of course, as the attacking player, you can't exploit this because the way the system and the Viktor Godin stuff is made, you can't just sit around and wait for turn 10 to get your get more reinforcements back, and you have to be you have to deserve it. To deserve it, I mean, you have to be in such a position that you can withstand the German counterattack, so they don't get. So you get to turn 10 without losing the game, and believe me, this is harder than it sounds. You can just stand there. Okay, I've got my victory points, and yeah, I'll just wait. Wait 3 or 4 for 5 turns for my stronger reinforcements to arrive. No, you're going to be beaten. You have to have, if you see that you can't beat the Germans by turn 5, let's say, well, that's arbitrary right now, okay, then you have to plan for your defense until turn 10, and yeah, you have to have a solid plan for defense, because the Soviets tend to overextend in the first turns of the game in order to achieve their objectives, and then so they're exposed when the Germans make their counter-attack. So you can't just wait it out, because you will be left with a defeat in your hands. So yes, that's it. Well, I don't want to offer any strategy advice. I mean, with just 2 playthroughs under my belt, I don't feel qualified to do that, but from watching my videos and the Grant's videos, and of course there are some other gamers too, you'll get a feeling about what works and what doesn't work. For me, as the defender in German solo, what hasn't worked is you know, point defense. I mean, the Soviets have so many units, they will just surround your units, get them out of supply, isolated, and then they just you know, annihilate them. So yeah, that's not the preferred way. I mean, you have to choose carefully where you stand and fight, and where you just run and save your units. So yeah, try not to get surrounded as much as possible, and yeah, and that's about it. Well, my final thoughts is that it's a great game, totally worth buying it, totally worth the time you need to invest to properly play it, and you know, get the most out of it. It's great. It's a great game. Just as Enemy Action was great. I mean, I have the feeling that this works. I mean, the pace of the game, because of course it's different battle, the pace of the game is a little bit faster, let's say. Units move more mobility and stuff like that, and yeah, it's totally loved it. And what I have decided to do, and I hope I'll see you back, I'll also, since there is now a vassal module available, which is, you know, very good for gamers like me, that I don't have a dedicated space to, you know, so that I can have my game there. So yeah, I have to thank my family for putting up with me all these months, me playing the game. I mean, 102 videos, and this one 103. So many hours, so many days that went into making these videos. So I'm going to do at least sometimes and show you how the Vassal module works and plays, but this is going to be in another part and another video. So if you're interested in getting more videos from me and more discussing the game, please stay tuned, and we will get in the next few days, maybe a week or so from now, we'll get some more videos for Enemy Action Kharkov. So that's all for now. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being with me in this wonderful playthrough. Totally love the game. Congratulations to John Butterfield and Compass Game. This is another excellent game from them. So that's all for now. See you in my next video.